All right, let's see where you guys left off. We picked up last game as you were outside of the Death House, which the place has aptly been named, and you were headed into this small village that you could see down in the alleyway. Um, Headed into town, you heard what sounded like a woman that was crying or weeping in remorse. I think Muddy noticed her first. She was up in the second story window of a house that you were next to. The others noticed this insect like humanoid creature, older looking, that was surrounded by a circle of salt off into the distance. They all went over and checked that while you were interested in the lady up above for a moment. Um, you were able to tell that the creature was some sort of demonic entity from the abyss, and it was surrounded by a ring of salt, basically as a barrier to not get out. Whenever it opened its mouth, or whenever you talked to it or anything, it would just be the sound of the wings of 1,000 locusts. I think, Velasi, you noted that these creatures sort of follow along with famine and um, disease and such things, sort of as a prophecy or a forward to that. You guys went upstairs into this house, making sure that it wasn't another death house, but you met a lady up there. She introduced herself as Mary, and she was upset because her daughter Gertruda had left the house. The whole house was in disrepair down below, except for all of the toys and shelf and stuff like that was cleaned, sort of like in a remembrance, or the knickknacks were. Same thing with this girl's room. It was also cleaned in bright pinks and pastel colors. Had toys littered about, and she was clutching a small doll, a rag doll that had this really crooked and leering, creepy sort of face. Um, she mentioned that she hid her daughter in this room. Her daughter was actually 17 years old and had snuck out of the house and hasn't returned in over a week now. And she's afraid that the devil took her. And she basically was just upset because she left and was hoping somebody could find her or bring the daughter back or something. Um, she mentioned that the creature out in the streets was trapped there by a man called Aleki Demorovich. She's not sure. He died a long time ago, but yet she said he's still taking care of the circle. She wasn't sure exactly why or what it was or anything like that. He decided to tell that lady to screw off and left her there to whimper in the corner as you headed down the road to the tavern. It's called the Blood on the Vine, but somebody scratched out the N and renamed it Blood of the Vine Tavern. Inside, there was 5 people. There was 3 of these Vistani gypsy type people, 2 men and a woman. There was a barkeep who was very pale, sort of short, chubby, and very unpersonable. And there was another man who later introduced himself as Ismark the Lesser. You guys grab some food, grab some drink, a very good drink of the wine, or the Wizard of Wine's winery, which was excellent wine, by the way. The barkeep's name was Eric. He gave you rooms and everything. The Vistani eventually filtered out, leaving just one lady there. Her name was Alika. And then Ismark also introduced himself. He looked to be 3 sheets to the wind and pretty sloshed for the most part, but he told you quite a few things. His father, the burgomaster of Barovia, which is this village that you're in, as well as the name of this land that you seem to have found yourself in. And he had passed away, and he was the new burgomaster, but he was more concerned about his sister Irina, who or at least he claims that the devil wants. He's not sure why or what the gig is about this whole thing, but he's trying to figure out a way to save or help his sister. He believes that taking her to a town to the sort of the northwest called the Valakai will protect her. It's a walled city that's known to have protection from the devil, notable priests, a wall around the city. They're not attacked by undead and werewolves and other creatures like this town is all the time. And the people there are much happier. And if that fails, then he shared stories of an abbey that's next to Valakai, and hopefully that church or that abbey might help as well. And he's trying to find somebody who will go with him. He doesn't have the means or believe himself fully capable of doing this on his own, but he's not finding anybody in the town that cares or will even follow his word. They all call him Ismark the Lesser, which he seems to take as a offensive name. He invited you guys to help him if you're willing to. He'll pay you 50 gold, and he believes that the people there in Valakai might be able to help you get away from this land or seek whatever you guys might seek, might have more help in doing so. The people here in the village of Barovia have seen better times and seem to be in a pretty bad state of decay. His sister's name is Irina. The father died 3 nights ago. And that is basically it. You guys went to bed. Yeah, seen a few odds and ends. That thing outside kept screeching half the night. Mornak saw this parade of ghost-like beings going down the streets. And, Irina, or no, Aliki, or what the heck's her name? Yeah, Alika. The gypsy lady mentioned that, well, she noticed that you all had those cards, the Taraka cards, and she mentioned that she doesn't have the ability to understand or read the cards, but somebody named Madame Eva does in Ser Falls, which is en route to where this Valakai is. So if nothing else, you should at least stop there and talk to this woman. Ismark was not too impressed with the idea. He finds that the Vistani are cruel and they're spies of the devil, but after talking with Victor a little bit, he figured, maybe he just has judged them wrong his entire life. Maybe there is something behind them that's good, but as it is, he's not a big fan of theirs. And I believe that is basically it. You guys got up the next morning, met with him, and we ended it as you guys were getting ready to head to his, the Burgomaster mansion, as he calls it, or his house, to meet with Irina. Anybody wish to add anything that I missed?
Who is Lucky Demorovich? Was he the wizard that put the salt circle down?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I have random names written down and I don't really have them explained.
Yep, he is the guy who he's supposed to have died several hundred years ago, but yet this thing, the lady said that he still maintains it, but he's dead. But she was crazy.
Hey,
anyway.
Here's a question for you. On the 50 gold, is that each of us, or is that to be divided up between us?
Nope, he offered that to each of you, so I guess it would be 250 total, or 200 total, but 50 for each, which he is going to give you 25 upon agreement when he gets to the house and get ready to leave, and 25 upon arrival. He is hooking Victor up with a new sword as well. He said he would be able to anyway. And I believe Mud Shield. All right. And with that, so as the morning breaks and Ismark comes in, he gets all of the food to go. So Eric, this barkeep, will put everything up on these sort of little papery folds that he creates, full of piles of hash brown potatoes and eggs. Alika, the cook of this place, you can hear her out in the kitchen, and pots and pans slamming about and stuff. She always seems to be in quite a good spirits, considering everything, bright colors that she wears, a large bow in her hair. Everybody else, which constitutes Ismark and Eric, that you see this morning, look as dour and miserable as ever. You can hear the thunder outside, pounding of the rain on the roof of this building, as it looks like a heavy storm is currently rolling through. The morning isn't too much different from the night. There still seems to be no sun. I mean, you've heard mention that the sun doesn't really even rise here anymore. But it sort of has this bluish gray haze in the air. It's not as dark as night was, but still like a twilight kind of evening look to it. And Ismark will grab his papers and fold them up. And, well, are you ready? I can take you to the mansion. We can meet with Irina. She's a stubborn girl, but I've spoken with her already. I believe with a little bit of hope and showing that you are willing to help, that she'll ride with us to Valakai. Just, it might take a few words of encouragement is all.
Have you thought of sneaking her out of the house? Not letting anyone or anything see that she leaves. Put her in a barrel, then pack her with the stuff inside of the caravan.
That could potentially work.
Maybe set up a mannequin or dummy in a window to look like she's still in the house.
I like you. You're smart. Perhaps, yes. As I said, she's very stubborn, but perhaps if we can convince her as such, she's... You know what they say about redheads. She's got a fiery personality.
Well, I mean, 2 days in a barrel, not too much convincing so much as putting her in the barrel.
Well, we will try it. She's currently dyed her hair and most of her makeup. She's done a bit differently in hopes that the devil won't realize it's her, but I think it's a bit foolhardy.
We could even put a mustache on her.
Well, I don't think she'd go for that, friend. But, well, you bring it up and I'll back you all the way. And he'll stand up and reaches up, and you can see that he pulls out the chain that he has around his neck and the small picture. It looks like a sun medallion, and he presses it to his lips and says a soft word and then puts it back under his vest. He has more road traveling clothes on this morning compared to last night. He looked more like old, noble, dirty clothes, but this morning it's well-traveled, heavier leather vest and heavier pants, boots. Looks like he's ready for the road. Gets his stuff and says, should we go? Do you need anything before we leave? I got the sword and shield already packed on the wagon. It's not the best, but it'll do well enough for now.
A couple days of food and some extra crossbow bolts would be all I would need.
I'm ahead of you, friend. I'm ahead of you. We got at least 4 days of travel goods, but it should only take us a night or two. We should have plenty of food, a barrel of wine, a barrel of water, a set of drums.
A whole
Need music
barrel of wine.
Yes.
Did I happen to recognize that holy symbol?
It'd be the one that is emblazoned. You've seen the prayer book or the book of the Morning Lord, but it matches the same symbol. Sort of just a golden sun with rays coming out from it.
All right. I'm ready to go. I don't think we're going to find much in this town anyway.
No, many of the people have passed on, and those left often leave Immel in the south or Valakai in the north. People don't like to stay here no more.
So tell me, does the sun shine in Valakai?
I wish I knew, friend. I've never been there. I've heard rumors that it's a brighter, livelier place. Perhaps.
You know for certain that it's still there, though.
As certain as certain can be. We have people pass through often and tell us of how wonderful the town is. Just last week, a pair of Vistani, they mentioned a festival, the Wolves' Den festival they had there. The children, they would gather around with wolves' heads and furs wrapped around and chase the chickens. Sounded like a grand time. To have a festival, I can't imagine. And smiling children. Nah, friend, it's worth the trip. It's worth the trip.
Well, let's go. Let's find a barrel and some rope. We'll find you, get your sister, and we'll be on our way.
Excellent. We have plenty barrels at the house. One of them will work. But yes. With that, nod and grabs his things and starts heading towards the door. He'll open up. It's calmed down a little bit outside, but the rain's still coming down pretty steadily. He leads you down this street. As you pass by these houses, every one seems to have the same drab peeling paint, grayish off-white sort of color to them. Most of the Windows are boarded up. Most of the doors are slammed, bolted, closed. Once in a great while, you will notice a person, generally an older gentleman or an older woman, peering out between the cracks in the boarded windows or through a broken pane of glass to watch you pass. But beyond the group of you and Ismark, there's nobody on the streets. There seems to be no town square, no businesses, no shops, nothing open. You'll pass by a small little building called Bildras Mercantile. Um, Outside of that, it seems to be the first person you've seen besides the lot of you. This brute of a lad, looks like he's maybe 16 or 17, human, real pale skin, much like the barkeep had, and dark eyes. It looks like he hasn't slept in days. And he'll just stand in front of this door, probably near 7 feet tall, and just rippling of muscle as he watches you pass. Doesn't say a word to you, and just his eyes glower at you as you pass by. Ismark will offer a kind of an awkward wave and chuckle and hurry you along as well. Eventually, you come to this mansion that he leads you to. It's weary looking, and it squats behind this rusting iron gate. Most of it is falling apart, broken. The main gate itself looks like it's been twisted and torn right off the hinges. It lies 10, 15 feet away from the main area. The part of the hinges still swings creaking, screeching in the wind. The entire complex is choked with weeds that grow up high. Very little grass, just heavy thorn bushes, weeds, stinkweed, and milk flowers. The building itself looks like it's had better days as well. All the way around it, the grass, or what weeds is, or what grass is left, and all these weeds and bushes are trampled as if something has passed through recently, making a path all the way around this house. The walls are scorched with black and soot. You can see heavy claw markings on windows, doors, the side of the building. Everything seems to be boarded up. There's no windows that still have glass in them left. They're all just boards. Even the door itself, the main fronted door, has an extra door slammed to the side of it, sort of crookedly nailed into place. It looks like a small area down at the bottom you'd have to crawl through to get in. And with that, Ismark will look over. It is not the best place anymore. When I was a child, it was the heart of Barovia. It was quite magnificent, but the last few nights have been rough. We've had to board the windows night after night and the doors, and it's come under constant attack by creatures of the nights. But come, let us go inside. The inside is a bit nicer than the outs. Everybody can give me a perception check. If you have anything nature-oriented, you can give yourself a boon.
Would either Wilderness Hunter or Wilderness Exile?
Either one would work.
What about Sheep Herder?
In this case, actually, yes, that would work as well.
Okay.
I got a 24.
Nice.
21.
You got a 16.
Do I get a bane for having animal trainer? Or a boon? Sorry.
Boon. Yes, you would, actually, in this case, too.
That's still 11.
All right. So, Mornak, you don't quite notice it as much as the others, but as Ismark leads you up to the front porch of this place, you can glance around on the ground, but the whole outside of this place that is trampled down, the weeds and the bushes and everything, it's covered with what looks to be obvious humanoid tracks, but they're not boots, they're bare feet. Just regular human prints all the way around, as well as a ton of wolves' prints that trample around the outside of this building as well. And Ismark will slowly come up the steps, and he glances around it before reaching over and knocking on the door a few times. And, Irina, he says, Irina, open the door. And he'll knock a couple more times. You can see he's panics a little bit or starts to get worried after a few moments. But then you hear the click of a deadbolt, sound of chains, and then the door handle open up and opens it inward. And this dark-haired girl peer out. She looks young, maybe 17 or 18. Light freckles are crossed under her eyes. And you can tell that she has fairly palish skin and the freckles, that she's definitely a redhead, but her hair currently is just stark black, cascading down around her shoulders. And I will put a picture of her over in the chat. She stares back. She'll look at Ismark and then to a lot of you. Who are these people, Ismark? Who do you bring here now? Just more adventurers to save the day? Is that what it is? Is that? He says, no. These people, Irina, they're gonna help us. They're gonna sneak us away. And this one here, point at you, Vasily. He's gonna stuff you in a barrel and tie it up with a rope or some such thing, and we'll sneak you out of here. And she'll give you this haughty sort of look, Vasily. And you will do no.
I'm sorry.
You will do no such thing. What are you anyway?
I thought of even putting a mustache on you.
I do not like these people. She stared. We have this furry man and this beast man, and she looked to Mordak and Victor. Ismark said, no, it's okay, Irina. They're here to help us. And we have no choice. There's none of these people in the... Let us come inside, and we will talk about this like civilized folk. See her shrug and step back. And he'll push the door open. Then he has to kind of crouch down to crawl underneath the boarded up window bits, but crawls down underneath into this room. He says, come, let's come inside. We'll shut the door. Do you all follow?
Yeah, I follow him.
Mudd will wait to last because he doesn't want anybody behind him seeing him trying to squeeze through the small opening.
It is a bit of a tight fit for you, Mudd, but you all crawl in, and you're in what looks to be this larger interior area. It's like a foyer, sort of. The doors along each side branch off into smaller rooms, and everything's been closed up for the most part. But directly ahead is an archway that leads into a side room, and you can feel the heat, and you can see the orange glow of what looks to be a fire kind of around the corner, glowing in there. And up ahead, just directly ahead of you in this archway, is a coffin surrounded by flowers. They all look very pale and seem to black color, though. They're sort of whites and grays and browns. Not very pretty by any means of what you would expect for flowers. Otherwise, this mansion is old. It's quite Victorian-esque in design, and there seems to be these pictures lining the walls of great battles between men. You see these people that look like they're in knight and military regalia fighting barbaric, tattooed and mud-painted men, and all these people in cloaks with large antlers. It seems to be some sort of important war of some sort that's portrayed on these walls. Beyond that, you don't see much else except for tons and tons of holy symbols. Looks to all be in different designs of this Morning Lord, the sun symbol. But some of them are made out of wood, some copper, some brass. Some are more intricate, some are more basic carved, but they're just plastered everywhere through this house, hanging from the ceiling, plastered to the walls, carved into the floorboards, and everywhere around. This is very welcome to my home, I guess. This is my sister, Irina. She'll look at all of you. Says, I can introduce myself, Ismark. She says, yes. You all may call me Irina. She'll hold out her hand first to you, Victor, to introduce herself, seeing that you look more humanly than all the rest.
He will actually grab her hand and bend down Yeah, he will actually just bend down and kiss her hand and introduce himself as, my name is Victor Angelos, my lady.
Victor. That's a name of confidence and strength. I like that name, Victor. And her eyes will look at Mud, and her face scrunches up a little bit, and then to Mornak, and reaches her hand towards Mornak. We don't see many elves here in Barovia. You're as handsome as I've been told they are.
Mornak is going to put his hand over hers, and then he says, I shall keep you safe, little sister.
I hope so. I hope so, Mornak. She looked to Vasily. So what is this you're telling me, that you're going to shove me into a barrel and plaster a mustache on my face and tie me with ropes? I'm not into bondage, my friend. What is all this? You're muted.
Not shove you, we'll place you gently in there. It's just to make it look like you're not even in the car, so whatever is after you will think that you're still in the house. We'll rig up something on the windows, look like you're sitting there looking out, watching your brother faithfully ride away.
She'll look at Ismark. So you mean he's going to hide me, not just shove me into a barrel? You'll have to forgive Ismark. His way of frankness speech tends to confuse me a bit. But I see what you're saying. Perhaps we could do without the mustache. What is your name? What is your name?
Vasily, I bow very cordially to her.
Vasily. Well, I've heard of creatures like yourself. What are they called? Satyrs, perhaps? Yes.
Just a fawn is good enough.
A fawn. You seem pleasant enough. And her eyes will shift to Mud. He says, you must forgive me, my large friend. You look more beast than human. I would expect you to kill us before friending us.
Well, I am more beast than human, but I'm no murderer. And I'll lean down as well, not quite down to one knee, but I'll kind of squat down closer to eye level. You may call me Mud.
Do you have any other names, Mud?
Not anymore.
Well, so Ismark has brought you along to protect me. Is that what it is? I can promise you I do not need protecting. I can handle myself well enough.
I reach in and pull out that locket that I found on the road, and I walk over to it and open. You see this here? I found this on the road here, which was a very odd thing. But this is a picture of my sister. I lost her and my entire family some time ago due to some beasts. So I have an affinity towards losing family members. I promise you that we will get you to where you're going safely. And because here is not safe. Just look at this. Look at this hovel that your once beautiful house has been turned into. Please. It'll be an expedition. It'll be fun.
Fun, yes. I haven't had fun since I was a child. Well, I'm at a bit of loss for words. I haven't had friendship or people who would care much like this besides Ismark and my father in years. Says, but you must understand, I cannot leave until my father is buried. And she'll look over her shoulder and sort of motion towards this coffin in the back. She says, it would be his only dying wish to ensure that his spirit will travel on safety. Please let us bury his body, and then perhaps we can, well, I'll think about this barrel thing. I'll let it roll around in my head a bit, but perhaps we can hide me away and get out of this town. Sooner the better. And she'll look to you, Mud, probably being the largest of the group. Not sure if you're really actually the strongest, but would you perhaps be willing to help my brother carry the coffin up to the church? Miss Merkel, no. We cannot take it to the church arena. The man's up there, the screams, and we don't know what Danovich has been up to up there. He says, none of the people go. Arena waves him off. She says, he will be buried in the church graveyard, Ismark. There will be no other choice. Ismark will just shrug and look to all of you.
Did you say Danovich?
Yes.
Lecky Danovich?
No, well, it would be probably his great uncle, great grandfather, somewhere down the line. Lecky was just in stories. Well, apparently he was here one time, but that was years and years and years ago.
I think if this person who is dear to you would want you to be safe more than anything. He's not going anywhere. Why don't we leave now and come back later to bury him?
She'll look at you. No. We will not leave my father here to rot and to be eaten by the beast that cometh tonight. He will be buried, or I will not leave. I will die here. He deserves more than that. He cared for me my entire life. My brother, my mother. He cared for this town like it was they were all his children, and they have just cast him aside. It's pitiful, pathetic. I could care less about the rest of these people, but he will be buried. Ismark looks like he's just kind of given up and just waits patiently.
How long has it been since he perished?
2 nights ago. He couldn't withstand the affront that the house was taking. Night after night, the screams, the scrapings, the howls. His heart couldn't handle it. He became sick several times, but the last one, he clutched his chest, and that is where he fell. His heart had finally given out on him. Oddly, that is when all the creatures left.
I think we should give him a good farewell. It would only take a little bit. And why not go to the church?
Well, we're already pressed for time to be on the road, but if this is what must be, then it must be.
Says, I will hurry. I have everything packed. We can load the cart up, but I will not leave him here to rot in this house. He must have a proper, for his spirit needs rest.
Perhaps it would be wise to have everything ready to go so that we can just leave after burying him.
Have everything in the cart at the same time. Head up to the church, then head on the road.
Exactly.
Sounds like a plan to me.
I can agree by them terms. Let me gather my gear.
The only thing is that you would have to remain hidden. You would not be able to see his actual burial. You would have to stay hidden in the wagon, otherwise the whole thing is blown.
Says, I do not like that, but she'll look to Ismark. Very well, if you agree to ensure that his proper burial is done right. Say a prayer. I will say my own in peace.
We have our very own priest here, no point to Mud.
And she'll look to you, then, and promise me that you will give him a proper burial, then. Give me your word.
I will. It may be by the prayers of Father Winter. But
Father Winter, who is this Father Winter you speak of?
It's a god from my lands.
I've read many books on religion, but I've only know of the Morning Lord and Mother Night. Perhaps you can educate me on this god of yours. For we could clearly use a savior of some sort.
That I can do. In the meantime, and one looks around at all the different holy symbols sitting around the room. Is there one you would want buried with him?
He is already prepared for burial in his casket. He has his blade, his books, and his symbols. I simply need to drop him in the ground and say a prayer.
Let's not hesitate then.
In that case, she will leave. You can see she goes into a side door. You can hear her in there. She gets stuff around. Ismark always patiently says, I have everything in the wagon already. It's prepared to leave. Perhaps Mud, Victor, if you are willing to give me a hand with my father's casket, we will throw it in the back of the wagon. Set it in the back of the wagon would be proper, I suppose, and take it on up there. He was a large man. It's a bit heavy.
This seems safer than making her angry.
You learn fast, my friend. And if you guys are willing to help, he'll go over and sort of clear off the flowers that are left and make sure that the lid is secure, and will aid you all in taking it back out front and putting it in this wagon. It has just your typical wagon, 2 draft horses. It has a front seat, and then the wagon in the back, just a basic covered wagon, nothing overly fancy.
Before we take off, I'm going to motion to the other members of the party. Vasily, Victor, Mud.
Yes, morning.
I think that the hag who had me imprisoned for many years, over 100 years, I think that she's messing with us now.
Oh?
I think she led me to this strange place. And I can't shake the feeling that she's right behind me.
Hag, you say?
Yes.
What was this hag's name?
She had a name, but she preferred to go by Mother.
Mother.
You've mentioned Mother before. You believe she's here?
All I know is that when we were in the house that the children led us to, there was heraldry with the windmill on it. And I recognized that heraldry from when I was imprisoned. I can't help it. I think that she's right behind me.
I look behind him.
She's not there.
Anything?
I don't see anything. Did she have a proper name? Or is Mother all you know?
Morgan, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her actual name.
I don't remember it off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But
I know it's
you're here now.
Abba something.
Yeah, it's actually give me a. I'm going to say a will check. See if you can remember.
I absolutely do not with a 3 on the die.
Yeah, as you try to think, you're correct. It's Baba something. For whatever reason, it seems like it's right on the tip of your tongue, but you can't say it, and it just sort of flitters away in that moment. Just Mother seems to be what comes to mind. You know she had a name, but it's like it's been torn from your mind or something.
Curiouser and curiouser. Well, let's get this show on the road.
Want to hang back for a second. One more I can say. Once everybody else is out of earshot. There's always demons behind our shoulder. Don't worry about it yet until we have to. But if we have to, let us know quickly.
Will you give me Father Winter's blessing to protect me?
Absolutely. And I will do I will do like a little standard blessing, and I'll kind of just chill the air around Mornak for a second and let it go.
You are a true brother, Mud.
Let's get this over with, shall we?
Indeed, no more delays.
If you could point me in the direction of the barrels, Mr. Ismark.
He'll pull the horses up as close as he can to the front doors there, sort of back in the wagon up area, and hop in the back, pull out a barrel and roll it across. It says, "This should be big enough for her. She's quite small." And he'll glance over, and you can see she comes out of her room this time. This time she is wearing, it looks to be a metal breastplate, very well adorned. And she has a simple long sword strapped to her hip, a pair of greaves on. Looks to be almost like she's preparing for war or something. Completely looks out of sorts, as she really doesn't know. And Victor, you might notice that some of the armor is put on awkwardly and straps are done incorrectly. But she is at least put on the best she has anyway. Well, shall we do this or not? I'm not looking forward to being shoved into a barrel, but...
Might be uncomfortable to ride in a barrel with armor and sword. Just saying.
But I figured I would be prepared for the worst.
Well, I mean, it's your comfort. If you wish to ride that way, that's perfectly fine.
Well, she might be more comfortable, and Victor's going to walk over to her, and he's going to kind of pause, and he's like, may I? Looking towards her to get her permission before, like, start grabbing and touching her.
Sure. Go ahead.
And then she, after getting permission, he will, like, undo a couple of the straps that she done wrong and, like, fix them properly for her, and just kind of adjust the armor a little bit to where it would probably be a little bit more comfortable for her to be get, shoved into a barrel.
I figure this perhaps would be the with a bit of a protection for myself, but I guess it's a bit obvious. I don't quite know what I'm doing, but I could stab things if I need to. You'll also notice as you're right next to her, Victor, it has like the neck brace that comes up of her armor, but she has a really beautiful looking silken red scarf, all adorned with little gold symbols of the Morning Lord around it, but she has it wrapped around her neck. She'll sort of push your hand away a little bit if you, try to touch it or do anything, but once you get her all set, she'll thank you. And all right, let's do this. And she'll give you that look, Mud, sort of telling you better keep to your word. And she'll climb into the back of the wagon quickly. Ismark will lift the barrel up as she sits down. Seems to be, she fits in it fairly comfortably. It's pretty big, 55-gallon sized barrel. She's quite small. And crouches down. Ismark will, there's seat enough for one of you to sit up here with me. The rest of you will have to ride in the back. You can make sure the barrel don't tip over.
I'll ride in the back, the corpse and the barrels.
While we're kind of digging through the wagon, I'm gonna actually try to look for that sword that he promised, and also the shield for Mud.
Yep,
and if I don't find them immediately, I'm gonna ask him about it.
Nope, he'll be just kind of pushed to the side, but they're there for you as well. There's also four little small sacks. They each have 25 gold coins in it for all of you. If you ask him, he motions to them as well, one for each of you. It doesn't look like anything overly fancy, but it's just a basic bastard sword and shield for Mud.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about the money. Like if the others ask about it, then I'll toss them theirs. But like I'm just gonna leave mine there, and I'm gonna toss. Well, first I'm gonna call out to Mud, and then toss him his shield, and then put the sword on my back, and then I will actually say to the others, I will ride out in front. My eyes, since getting out of that house has become a little sharper, I should say. Um, So unless anybody else wants to volunteer, I will keep an eye out up front.
I think that's a good idea, Victor.
Have you an extra horse for him to outride for us, Ismark?
No,
Don't we still have that pony that we had?
No, that thing ran off a long time ago with Bester.
Yeah. No, he only has the 2 draft horses, but he can have somebody sit up on the front with him, which he will offer him if Victor wants to do it, if nobody else does. But he doesn't care either way who wants to sit up there.
I'll just climb in the back and sit off the back of the wagon with my hooved feet just dangling off the end, crossbow in hand.
How far is it to the church, Ismark?
Not far, perhaps a 3-minute ride, and points up the road. Up there, yonder, around the tree bend. It's a little bit out of the town, but it used to be a place of festivities when it looked down a small orchard out back in the graveyard. It's only a moment. And we can pass right on by that and out of town afterwards. That he'll give you a hand, Victor, and help you up into the seat as everybody climbs in the back and gets ready.
Is anybody paying attention to us getting ready to take off here?
Well, you can give me a perception check to see.
I'm gonna actually look through the tree to see if there's any crows or wolves or anything lurking around.
I got a 12 on my check.
All right, go ahead and give me a perception as well, Vasily, then.
That's a 19.
Nice. Mud, as you glance around, you see 2 people. One seems to be that large, younger lad, still standing exactly where he was before in front of this little mercantile, little shop type of place, hands crossed in front of his chest. And he sort of leans back against the door frame. He just stares off. He's not looking at any of you or anything. He just seems to be staring off into the distance. Same way as when you passed him, hasn't moved an inch. The other one you see is a very old-looking woman, very, very old. And she's about 4 houses down as you watch. She pushes a small cart, and she'll push it up. And you hear these tires, wheels creaking. All of you would notice it as the tires creak and glance over. Pushes it along, this stringy white hair hanging down. She looks to be dressed in almost like patchwork rags. She'll stop at this next house and on the door. Seeing that there's no answer, she'll slowly move back to her cart and push it once more to the next door and step up to the door again. And this time you see a woman open the door. And this old lady say something. They're a little too far for you to understand. They seem to be talking back and forth for some moments. This little old woman will slowly go back to her cart, takes something out of it. It looks like a little basket, and holds it and walks back over. You can see she reaches through the door frame. You see this woman that she's talking to reach out and grab it. And then you see a boy of maybe 7 or 8 years old sort of stumble out like he's been pushed, and he scrabbles a couple feet across the ground and falls. This old woman will grab a hold of him, picks him up. You can see he's starting to like thrash and trying to get away. She seems a lot stronger than what she looks like for this frail old lady, but she walks over, opens up a side door on this wagon, and shoves this kid inside and slams it shut in a hurry. This cackling sort of laugh. And then she starts to push the cart to the next door, next house. She stops there, and moves up to the door, gives it a pound. Again, nobody answers this time, so she'll start pushing the cart towards all of you. She'll stop, though, once she sees that you're all standing there. She slowly starts to veer her cart down a side road.
I'll look pointedly to Mornak. This seems similar to what you were saying earlier.
Yes, I can't help but feel the hag is just behind me. I wish I could remember her name. She had me imprisoned for over 100 years, and I can't even remember her name.
Ismark Olokoven, it is best that we leave. We must hurry.
I don't want to see what this weird old lady's doing. Let's get out of here.
He says, yes, I agree. And with
I
that,
think you're right, Vasily.
he'll snap the reins and start to pull the cart away up the hill towards this church that he motioned to.
As long as she's in view, Mud never takes his eyes off the woman.
She will go around the corner, and as the cart pulls away, she'll stop, and she watches, and she'll stand there and watch the entire way as you start to pull away. Unless anybody does anything else, Ismark will just continue to go up the road.
Did she watch as we loaded the body up, or was she just watching as we left?
Just watching as you left.
Okay.
I swear you can hear a bit of a cackling in the wind. And as you get a fair distance away, she'll turn her cart and start pushing it down the street again. The last you see of her is going up to this next house and pounding on the door once again. As you glance around, Vasily, there doesn't seem to be really any life besides the group of you. You can hear a few chirps in the wind of maybe crickets. But you do notice a single raven perched on a branch as you pass by. And it looks at you almost with its head cocked a little bit in curiosity. And it'll hop from the branches, flitter along, fly between a few trees, following the cart for a little ways.
I'm going to try to shoot it.
You'll notice that it has white at the tips of each of its feathers. Go ahead and give me a attack roll.
And it's agility roll. Oh, give me a 9.
That's okay. You'll have a bead on this thing as you lift your crossbow up. And then you feel this heavy hand grab a hold of your wrist as this girl, Irina, looks over. She says, No.
Why are you out of your barrel?
She says, ravens are creatures of good. They help carry away the spirits so they're not trapped here.
They're spies.
She says, No. Ravens
I saw all of the spirits in the street. None of them have gone away.
She says, yes. We will have to talk about that tomorrow, Nick. It's quite a sight. She says, no.
If you're out of it. I'm sorry.
She says, what you think of are crows. Different creatures. Dark murder of crows, I hear. That's what they call them. She says, but no. Ravens are larger, smarter, more intelligent. She'll point to this bird as it flitters across. She says, ravens are one of the good creatures of this land. They protect their spirits. They guide them to safety. Says, the devil, he hates them like a curse. It's a sign of good omen when a raven follows your wagon.
If you're not going to be in your barrel, please go underneath of some burlap bags. This is the most obvious place that you need to be hidden in town, where there's possibly spies, agents of the devil, watching for you to leave.
Yes. Stop shooting at the birds then. And she'll duck back down in her barrel.
When she does, Mud will pull that little book out of his satchel, and where only the members of the party that are in the back can see, he'll pull that Taraka card out again and pointedly show it to them, and the Raven card, and just kind of cock an eyebrow and put it back.
I don't care, crows, ravens, they're all the same to me. Bulgy-eyed birds that watch you and watch you and watch you from the trees. Who knows who they're whispering to?
You'll hear this bird let out a caw.
I know very well who they're whispering to. I sit there, I all of a sudden tense, all of a sudden with my crossbow just at the ready.
Ismark will continue the horses around this thing. You can see the town a little bit further back start to fade out in this heavy fog that's around, and as you come around this corpse of trees, a slight rise up against where this church is. You can see this castle you can see it from the town, but here on this little rise that you're on, it comes a little bit more into view. This massive gray stone building. It looks like it's built right out of the mountainside, and it looms overhead. And this church seems to be almost a metaphor for the castle anymore. The church is decrepit, old, run down. You can see it's weathered the assaults of this shadow from the castle for centuries. The only noticeable, interesting aspect of it is a large bell tower that rises from the back side of it. You can see there's lights inside flickering. And from behind the courtyard, you can see a large graveyard, probably 2,000-3,000 graves stretching back off all the way up to the wood line. And then you all hear a ear-piercing scream. Everybody give me a will challenge roll, please. Everybody's muted, so.
Is this for fear? Is this a fear? No, it
Yes.
just doesn't matter. It's just a will challenge. I have a bane on all my will challenges. Okay, that's an 8.
I got a 16.
You're good.
I got a natural 1.
Oh,
And Victor?
Can you remind me what fortunes do? If we have a fortune, like...
Oh, the fortune point is you can turn a failure into a success or re-roll a d20.
I think I'll keep my 7.
All right. So, Mornak, looks like you're the only one that passed. The rest of you can feel the hair on the back of your neck stand up and this cold shiver run down your spine. You are all going to have fear from whatever the scream was, but it just chills you to your bone. And you'll even see Ismark beside you, Victor, tense up. He says, "He should not have come here. He should not have come here. The damn sister, she just insists on burying the old man."
It's that banshee again from the house. It's followed us. It didn't go down in the rubble.
The screams, they've been there for almost nearly a year now. Nobody comes to the church because of it, night and day. The screams, they never stop. We haven't seen Darovich in so long that I don't even remember. And once again, you'll hear this screech, almost inhuman, come from the place. And Ismark will snap the reins. Let's do this quickly.
Can't we bury your father at Valaki?
You'll hear, no, he will not be buried in Valaki. He must
You want him to be buried with a banshee?
Says, we'll be fine.
Fine. You don't know what we saw in that house outside. The screaming banshee.
But if there's something wrong, then we at least have to look into Father Danovich. We have to at least make sure he's alive.
Ismark we go to that church. No. We agreed to make a burial. I don't want to go anywhere near there.
exactly.
She looks, and once again the scream sounds like a father. You can hear it screeching.
Let's go!
Ornak's going to pull out some cloth and bind his ears with it.
This third screech seems to bother Irina a little bit as well, and she looks to all of you. My father, he must be buried in the graveyard.
He's just a corpse, a body. He could be buried in any graveyard. It's not the corpse that matters. He would rather you live and bury him in another church than come here with a banshee.
The Sealy speaks true. And we didn't really sign on to go into some church and I assume fight unknown zombie hordes or some such.
She says, no, you're right. You're right. We can't take him all the way to Valakine.
He's been sitting in your house for 2 days already. What's another 2 days?
And
I'm visibly distraught. My eyes are bulged open. I'm sitting there clutching my crossbow, like with my knuckles all just frozen on
it. Very well, I do not like this, but there is something there in here, and we... Very well. Let's just be gone of this place, I guess. And Ismark up front will look over at you, Victor, and... Very well, my friends, let's be gone with this. We'll bother my further at Valakai. Says they must have a cemetery, right? Every place has a cemetery.
Every place has a cemetery.
And all three, so I need the three of you that failed to have the fear check. Give me one more will check. As Ismark was pulling away.
That's a 1.
Ooh. At least I got a 19 this time, so.
All right.
I had a 13 this time.
All right. Victor and Mud, as he starts to pull away and sort of outskirts around of this church a little bit, the further you pull away from it and get away, your fear subsides a little bit. You can still hear the screeching and the screams. It sounds like it's screaming for Father, feed me, and help. And you can hear these words in between the screeches. It's both of you that fear subsides a little bit. Vasily, for you, it just gets worse and worse. And yeah, you are not doing well for the time being. The further away you get, it seems to be like all you can hear is that screeching and the visions of what could be and the banshee and whatever it is, you don't know, but...
It's following us on the wind. Right, faster!
With that, Ismark will pull away and start rambling down this road. It would be later afternoon, perhaps around 10 a.m.-ish. And still, the sun hasn't really come up. It's still this hazy, bluish sort of light around. Ismark will get a little bit more comfortable as the ride goes along. He says, well, my friends, we should be to the crossroads in about 2 hours, I assume, and, well, we can choose to go to Wayland or Sayre Falls from there. I know, you wish to go see this Madame Eva lady down in Sayre Falls, but as I said, I'm not a big fan of the Vistani, but if you truly believe...
Are they not on the road to the same place? Is it not on the road to Valaki?
Oh, yes. But, well, Wayland goes down and around, and Sayre Falls is a bit of a shorter route along the Ivlis River. I just assumed to avoid the Vistani. But Victor brought up a good point, and perhaps time is on our side if we take the shortcut. So,
plus, everyone is expecting you to avoid the Vistani because they know that you dislike them. So, using psychology, going to the Vistani is the place that we should go.
That makes sense, my friend. It does make sense, yeah.
It's the shortest route.
Always thinking. Very well. He'll snap the reins. Up front with you, Victor, he'll sort of hum to himself some sort of soft tune, it seems like, and He looks nervous, sort of impatient, but at least in the best of spirits, and it seems being away from the town has lightened them a little bit. What do all of you do on this 2 hours to where he called the crossroads? What do you do during this time?
I'm still sitting in the back, near the back of the wagon. I'm still looking for crows and ravens.
So I will be with a small pocket knife carving into the new shield. And as we get closer, if anybody sees it as it's work complete, when you first glance, it looks like a snowflake. But when you look a little closer, inside the patterns of the snowflake form down to a bearded skull. And that's it's very reminiscent of the scarring around my neck.
Now and then you'll notice Irina peek over the side of her barrel that she's been in, taking a look at what you're doing. Mornak, what do you do during this time as well? You're muted if you're talking.
Yep, just realized that. Warnock's going to try and spend some time with Mud, seeing if he'll teach him more about Father Winter.
Yes, definitely. And as I'm carving, without putting my head up, kind of ramble on a bit for about an hour or so. Some of the tenets, some of the blessings. It's being out on the tundra and able to survive that strengthens the soul, and he'll be speaking it loud enough for Irina to hear as well.
Yeah, she'll definitely take notice and doesn't climb out of her barrel really, but she'll definitely peek over it and listen to your story.
I'll make sure to impart, specifically go over some of the tenets of placing the dead to rest and all that. And then when he's finished after about an hour of that, he would lean over to Irene and say, I can send his soul along before burial if you prefer.
She'll glance sort of off into the distance. Perhaps that would be best. I truly wish we could have buried him in the town that he loved. I understand your fear, and even whatever that was, I could feel it scratching at my skull.
It's just a desiccated corpse of the town that he used to love. That's not his town.
Yeah, I just want to do the paper back.
Yes, Vasily, I suppose you're right. You're correct. But please forgive me. It was my father. I mean, you must understand. I just wish the best for him. That is all.
I understand. I used to be sentimental.
Yes, the world hardens people, I suppose. You shouldn't lose sight of that, Vasily. It's what makes you fawn, I guess. What makes us human makes you fawn, or something. Yeah. But I'm curious about this Father Winter you speak of, Mud. It sounds like a patron whose beliefs align with much of ours. Granted, it doesn't get cold enough to snow here, but there's such in the mountains, really. But no, it just rains and it's always dark. Seems the morning Lord has left this land long ago, left us to our own miserable beings. Even Mother Night doesn't rest in the sky anymore. That was long before me, of course. I've only heard the tales. Perhaps someday the sun will shine again. She'll sort of just slump back in the barrel. Victor, what do you do during this 2-hour ride?
I'm going to, of course, being the in the position of shotgun, keep ever watch of the surroundings as we're going along. But he's going to examine the bastard sword he has, and just to kind of make sure of, not necessarily, he knows it's not going to be in the best quality, but he's going to make sure that like the blade is at least sharp and that it's not going to fall apart on him on the first use. But then as he's actually working on the blade, he's going to start humming a tune. And he doesn't even know this tune. It's something that he heard when he was a child. And he's just going to be like humming it as he's working. And of course, ever keeping a watch of the surrounding areas to make sure that we don't get ambushed.
You can see Ismark will strike up a awkward conversation here and there and kind of point out details. You will pass one road that leads sort of kitty corner back the direction you came from, but a little bit south. It kind of veers back towards Barovia. You see a sign on the side that reads Immel, and point to that. It says, we used to get many travelers from the town of Immel, still a southern town to the south of Barovia. It's been at least a decade since I saw them. Colorful, funny people. They like to tell jokes. Wish I would remember the good joke. But again, it's been a decade, if not longer, since they've come to visit us in Barovia. I often wonder what happened there. There were stories that lycanthropes, they roam the forest, the Svalich woods. He sort of motions around to all the trees. Says, perhaps the town finally fell. But alas, we won't go there now.
Filthy creatures.
He sort of chuckles as he looks back and looks over at Victor. Says, your furry friend seems to dislike humanoid mammals. I find that funny. And
Just the unnatural ones.
I'm sorry, you weren't supposed to hear Victor.
I point to my ears, my long ears.
When Vasily says just the unnatural ones, Mud, without looking up, will go.
Yeah, Victor's actually going to laugh quite heartedly up in front at that comment, and he's going to actually lean in and says, to be honest, I've never seen anything like him before, so he's very strange to me, but oh damn it, I lost it. I had it in my head. Damn it. Oh well.
I meant to ask him. I thought that perhaps he was a weregoat, but I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, I like to pretend he doesn't exist. Like when he speaks, I answer it, but I just kind of ignore him. I know that's rude, but I don't know. I just can't place my finger on him. But so far, he's been good. I will say he's been a good chap.
Oh, he's got excellent ideas. But in Arena and the barrel, I can just imagine she would be yapping and all the whole time, and she tends to get a bit animated sometimes. So perhaps the barrel was a good idea. But
The worst of it is the werewolves aren't even the worst of them.
hush, hush. And you'll see he tenses up a little bit to Victor and says, somebody's ahead. Please, just let me handle this. And you'll see Victor as he comes around a bend. You've all heard this whisper of trickling water in the distance, and you've passed by small areas of some of the trees where you can see a river. As you guys are riding, it would be on your right-hand side, which would actually be to the south, but every now and then you could see a river into the distance. But now you can hear it. It doesn't sound like it's a rushing river of anything, more of this trickling, calm, soothing. And it seems to loom between these pines occasionally. Until now, it's been quite a distance away in this valley below. But now, this muddy path that you're rolling along on turns south, and you'll see Ismark snaps the reins and stops the horses up ahead. Victor. The three of you in the back wouldn't notice unless you fully turn around and look around the side of the wagon or whatever. But Victor, you'll see up ahead this huge stone Gothic-looking bridge that spans across the river. It's very ornate and looks like it was crafted amazingly well centuries ago. Gargoyles loom on either side of it, but they've been either vandalized or perhaps just weathered or something, but they're mostly broken apart into rubble now, what's left of them. And you can see the river below. This bridge spans the entire river, which is 50 feet, and it goes about 30 feet above the river at the highest point. It's not a high arch either. It's fairly medial. And Ismark says, this here is the Eveless River. This bridge is called the Barovian Serre Bridge. He says, but I do not recognize that. You'll look ahead and you'll see a man standing on the edge of the bridge. He has a small knife in his hand. He seems to be cleaning out his nails and occasionally chews at them and spits something out. He has what looks to be very noble looking clothes, large plumey shoulder pads and pants around him that are kind of plume out a little bit, but they're very drab, gray, muddy sort of colors. And he doesn't move. He just sits there waiting. And Ismark will look to you.
When I first spot him, I'm going to bang my hand on the back to kind of get the other's attention, and then I'm going to say, not in a loud voice, but enough to where my party members can hear, that we have company up ahead. Not quite sure if it's trouble or not. And saying that, though, you said he's dressed like a noble, but it's just him, though, right? There's no horses or a carriage.
Nope, nobody else that you see.
Okay, then yeah, that's going to put Victor a little bit on edge, a little bit. Be like, yeah, it looks like we're going to have trouble up ahead.
I'll lean into the towards the other barrel until Irina I'll tap the tunnel. Keep your hiding space for now.
What is it? What's there?
Do not know yet. Let you know when it's safe.
I have a sword, don't worry.
I'll chuckle at her.
Ismark will look at you for a second, Victor, and well, take the horses slowly, and perhaps we can greet him as we go. And he'll snap the reins, and you guys will all feel the cart jerk forward a little bit. And he has the horses in sort of a slow trot at the moment, and it slows it right down to a walk as he comes up. And it gets a little bit closer. You can see this man, and actually I'll throw a picture of him over into the chat as well. He has this very well-trimmed goatee, hair that flows down dark. His skin is sort of this olive shade to it. As you guys glance around the side of the wagon, look in the direction stuff, it's the same color as Victor's skin, actually, and the same as the gypsies that you saw back at the tavern there, this sort of darker olive shade to it. He'll stand there and waits for the wagon to come to a stop. Ismark will stop at about 15, 20 feet away and sort of puts his hand up and says, "Well, how are you this fine day, sir?" This man will chuckle, puts this knife close and puts it back onto his hip. You can see he has two scimitars on either side of his hips. Looks like he's fairly well skilled and well athletic looking. And he walks down sort of with the swag and says, "You all look to be from Barovia." He says, "Well, you haven't come this way in quite a long time, I assume, so I must tell you that there is a toll on this bridge." Here, look at you, Victor. Ismark. Is anybody looking around, or can he see? Is anybody looking around the wagon, or
I start scanning the woods, anything to the side of the road. I'm looking for archers or anything.
Is the front of the wagon to the back of the wagon enough of a difference that the man in front can't see who or what's in the back?
It has the covered wagon thingy, so as long as you guys aren't peering around the sides of it, no, he would not see you. Go ahead and give me a perception check, Vasily.
23.
Glance around and, well, you don't see anything in the woods. I mean, they're fairly thick here and there, but even the sparser areas and stuff, you don't see any other signs. You don't see footprints. You don't see people. You don't see anything. Just empty woods around you.
I'm sorry, quick timeout. I just realized something. Maybe I misunderstood earlier, but we've been in a covered wagon this whole time,
Yes.
and we're still making her sit in the barrel?
Yes.
Yes, because I'm
Okay.
paranoid.
I didn't realize it was a covered wagon. I feel kind of bad now.
I'm still paranoid. I'm ready to shoot at crows flying by him.
Well, we can always check it up to the fear from the banshee, or so-called banshee, is what kind of, messed with our minds on us not thinking straight. But Victor's going to ask, so how much is this toll? And as he's asking that, he's going to reach back and try to grab that sack of 25 gold, or at least his sack.
Yeah. Says, well, that depends on how much you have, friend. Says, to be quite honest.
No, that's not what I asked. No.
Since you shouldn't.
How much is the toll?
He'll look at the wagon. As much as it says, I'm not one who needs gold money. No. I'm just looking, well, for a pair of horses. That's just a simple pair of horses. He says, perhaps we can make a deal. And he'll start walking along the side of the wagon. You see around the back to look in.
I'm going to slowly draw out which side is he going on? Is he going on my side or the driver's side?
He would be on Ismark's side, the driver's side.
Oh. Well, shit.
As he comes around the back, I'm going to be there with my crossbow at eye level.
So, come around and comes face to face with your bolts. Says, calm. Says, calm down, my friends.
These aren't calm times.
Says, I can see you a bit agitated.
Well,
I get it. It's unwelcoming to come to a bridge and have to pay a toll, but everybody's got to make a living. Everybody, let's go ahead and just put your crossbow down, and I'll gladly. Perhaps we can all have a simple drink and discuss
Not a chance.
the weather.
Cart without horses is not very good cart, now is it?
And you will see her. All of you will hear this voice come from the barrel beside you. Who is it? There's somebody out there.
Shut up.
Who are you hiding in the barrel, my friends? Irina will stand up in her barrel, her sword pointed forward.
Oh.
She says, such a beautiful girl. I tell you what.
We should have girl shot.
When he says such a beautiful girl, I think that's when Mud will move into view. Like, kind of fully.
It's such an ugly man. Looks like you were beaten with an ugly stick, my friend. He says, I tell you what, let's keep it easy. I understand you need your horses to pull this wagon, so I need a horse too. I've been stuck here on the side of the road for quite a while. If I get the horse and the girl, you guys can keep the horse and be on your way. What say you? And he will stroll sort of away from you. Doesn't really even give you a second look, either Vasily or Mud or Mornak for that matter. And starts to walk back up the side towards the front again. You get the wagon and the cart and you fellows can be on your way. I get the girl and the horse and I can be on my way. And everybody's happy. I'll even throw in a bottle of wine.
Sure to be poisoned.
I don't poison people. That's silly.
Standing next to Mud, I say, I've searched the woods to the side. I don't see any archers. I have no problems or compulsions leaving a stranger bleeding in the gutter.
When he says that, look to the other side from where he pointed out, I guess, out the wagon and check the other side. Or were you scanning both sides?
Yeah,
as much as I could from the back.
yeah, and even if you glance around as well, I'll just assume you do as well, Mud. And again, you don't see anybody else. You don't see tracks, with your wilderness training and stuff. But your wagon wheel tracks are the only thing that's here besides his foot tracks that he just left. It doesn't seem like there's anybody around.
Mornak's gonna go ahead and get out of the wagon, and then I'd like to cast Sense Magic to see whether he's carrying anything magical.
Yeah, it will actually. You can see. You can see that both of his blades that he has on him are magic, as well as a necklace that he has around his neck. It's sort of underneath his clothing, but you can see the glow from it. If you want to focus long enough, you can tell what kind of magic it is, but that's up to you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and focus.
All right.
I think Mud will step out of the wagon at this stage, too.
He will walk sort of nonchalantly, almost egotistical, up to the front again and runs his hands over these horses, checks their muzzle, sort of lifts their mouths up a little bit, looks at their teeth. And, these are fine animals. I think this would get me to where I need to go with no problem. I said, yes, I could ride in the wind with my lady on the back. My hair would flow. It could be quite easy. What say you? Should we get this done and over with? And he'll start walking away towards the bridge itself. You can see that there's a small little sack that he has sitting up there on the edge.
He's armed with magic swords and has some sort of magic necklace.
Mind having a magic necklace?
I'd say that he's trying to extort us, and I'm not well pleased by that.
I'm trying to figure out what his game is. Is he just so arrogant that he thinks he can take us by himself, or does he have something lurking?
Miss Marco, you, my friend, will not have my sister. Says, my friends here, they will gut you like a pig. Won't you, my friends? And he'll sort of look over his shoulder. Right? That's what they pay you for, I think.
Mornak holds up his staff and goes, I'm not cutting anyone or stabbing anyone with this.
Victor, right, Victor? You will protect this. My friend Victor here will gut you like a pig then. You'll see this man, Victor, look over his shoulder. Yes, something like that. Put your sword away, Victor. Says, we can make this easy, but if you truly wish for this to be a difficult situation, then I could make it so. I've killed plenty of people in my day. I have no qualms, but I don't think what I ask for is much. A horse and a girl,
Let me ask you this. You say you needed to get somewhere. Well, where is it that you need to go?
Says, wherever the wind takes me, my friend. Wherever the wind takes me. I have...
Well, how about this? Instead of us sitting there trying to kill each other just for these material goods, how about I give you 10 gold, you get in the wagon with us, go up to the next town that we're heading to, you take the 10 gold and buy you a horse, and then keep on going, and we'll leave it at that. No one has to die. You're not going to take anything other than the 10 gold. And we won't kill you, or you try to kill us, either you getting gravely injured, because, no offense, I don't think you can take on all 4 of us without getting at least a scratch. And we get to keep our things, and we get to move on. Because right now, you are wasting our time.
Well, where is it you're headed, then?
To see Madame Eva.
Madame Eva? Really? You're gonna see that old wench? Well, I can't pass this up. I'll ride along. You won't even have to pay me. I have a few words for her anyway.
is sick. Where is Mark? How far are we from the camp?
We are about 2 hours away. Just over the bridge and to the north.
Let's get moving, shall we? You, Frank, can walk outside here with me.
Says, no. That's not the deal that your friend gave me. He said I could ride in the wagon. It's the wagon or not. He made the deal, not you.
Yes, and you changed your deal upon learning new circumstances, now didn't you?
I simply take the deal.
It's fine. He can ride up here, and I will walk. But
No.
I'm gonna walk. If he decides, like, I'll walk like next to him where he's sitting, so that way if he does anything, I'll be right there.
I would rather you not walk alongside.
Ismark will look over at you and to make it in 2 hours, you'd have to hustle. He says, could you keep up that long? I don't trust your athleticism, but it's quite a ride.
Well, actually, looking at the wagon, what kind of wagon is it? Is it possible for me to like just hang on to the side?
Yeah, you could do that.
Like
Yeah.
let him basically sit there, and I could just like hang on to the side. Okay.
There'd be
Then-
enough of you.
Then I'll mention that. It's like,
Oh yeah, you could hang right on the side, like right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that'd be fine.
well, I'd rather just like stay close to this
Mhm.
guy because I don't necessarily trust him, but as long as we can like avoid this confrontation, then like I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit.
This is excellent then. Yeah, this is. I will ride in the back though, because well,
No,
I've been out in the sun all day.
you will not
Get
ride
rid of
in the
it.
back.
He says that was the deal. He said I could ride in the wagon.
And you are right on the front. My forked tongue flicks out of my
He can take my spot on the wagon.
Excellent. See,
Mornak gets up.
take your friend's spot in the wagon. See there. Easy as peasy. I will sit next to you, my frail little friend. We can share tales of goat cheese and wine.
You could sit on the back of the wagon then.
And he'll reach down and pick up his pack and sling it over his shoulder and come strutting back. Offers this wide, white-toothed smile to Ismark and Victor's. He'll go and pull himself up the back. I still get the girl, though, right?
You get nothing but a ride.
Not a very present friend. You should calm down a little bit. I think I have something for that. Here, let me look. I'll dig around in his pack and take out this small vial and says, here. It'll calm your nerves a little. Take a sip.
And I raise my crossbow up towards him.
More poison.
I like you. You goat friend. What's your name? You can call me Jack.
You can call me not friend.
Yeah, very well, not friend. I am Jack. Hold out his hand.
I have no love for bandits, highway robbers, or your type of scum.
Hey, this doesn't work that way here. He's just a simple man trying to make a living.
By highway robbery and extortion.
Man's got to do what he's got to do, right? My
And I-
feet are sore.
And I raise my crossbow up higher. Yes.
Think I might even have a bit of a sunburn. Look at there. Says, what about you, ugly man? You're going to come sit beside me, too. You can point his crossbow, or she can point her sword, and perhaps you can point your tooth at me or something. Come, have a sit. You can call me Jack. And you hold out his hand towards you.
I'll sit opposite to him. So I'm staring right across at him. I just smile. You can call me Mud.
Mud. Yes. I figured this is going to be an awfully long ride, my friends, if we're all tense as turtles. And look at your
Is the wagon still going?
Ismark has not moved yet, no.
Okay.
Look over.
Well, as the conversation is going, and if he's in the wagon, I'm going to get him to get us going.
All right. I hope you know what you're doing, Victor. I do not trust this man. There's something strange about him.
It is, but it's better. Well, like you say, it's very odd for someone to try to rob us by himself. He must have great confidence in his skill, or he's just stupid. But either way, it's a conversation that we don't necessarily need to have. In this way, bloodshed's avoided, and we are continuing on our way.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Victor. He'll snap the reins, and you all lurch forward a little bit as he kicks the horses into motion and starts clopping across this bridge. I'm going to say, Vasily, you're kind of focused on this guy as well as Mud. Mornak, give me a perception roll, please.
That is a... You said perception, right?
Yep.
That's going to be an 18.
As he pulls this wagon across the bridge, you can see quite a few areas of the bridge have splatters. It looks to be fairly fresh blood here and there. It's stained into the stone of the bridge itself, but it hasn't been worn away by the rains or anything yet, so you get the sense it must be probably within the last day or two at most. Here and there, one area that's quite large, as if somebody bled out for quite a while. But that too begins to disappear in the distance as he crosses the bridge and down this road. Man, he'll look between the three of you and over his shoulder with this big smile at Cyrena. Says, well, why don't we at least share a tale or something? Since everybody's so quiet and on edge. Perhaps we can lighten the mood, have a bit of wine. Take out a wine. And you'll see that it's the Wizard of Wine's winery. This one is called Grape 72. This is excellent stuff. Got this from a friend just yesterday. So shall we partake in a glass? Fish out 4 little glasses from his pack. Fill up a wine and hand it over to you, Mud. No.
I won't take it. Won't even say anything. I'll just continue to stare at him.
Don't worry, it's not poisoned. And he'll drink down half the glass and set it between his legs and pour another one, offer it to Vasily. Says, you look like a man who would like fine wine.
I don't even budge at all.
Everybody's so uptight. My elven friend, you and I have much in common, I'm sure. Fans of good wine and good food, and you look like a man who knows how to dance. Well, why don't you have a drink with me?
No, I don't think I shall. I don't think we actually have much in common.
Oh, we do. But you'll find that in time. Very well.
What do you mean, we do? Can you enlighten me now?
Perhaps someday. I'm going to drink my wine now, though, since everybody's a bit too ornery to share. It's very rude to, deny a drink in front of guests. But I understand. I come across a bit strong sometimes.
Perhaps you could be a little bit more specific about this similarity that we have.
I like good wine. You like good wine. What more could be said? I've had friends who used to be elves. All the elves are dead now. But a long time ago, yes, there was elves, and I had excellent friends that were elves, and they taught me dances and taught to revere and Mother Night and the stories that they told. But that was a long time ago. But maybe human, but I feel like I'm more elf, if you know what I mean.
I'm afraid I don't.
So you're an elf. I'm always going to say I'm an elf.
Are you
We're
actually half
like,
elven?
no. He doesn't look. He looks completely human. No. But I just grew up with the elves, and I had a few ragtag parties and stuff with them, and I know their ways and such. I might just as well say I'm an elf.
Perhaps I will have some of your wine. Could you pass me the bottle?
Excellent. Yeah, he'll hand you the bottle over.
Ornak pops the cork back in and throws it in his backpack. We'll see if this is poison when we get to the apothecary.
He'll drink his glass in front of you. Says, very well. I guess I won't get out the other bottles. With that, he will sit back, his back against the wagon, and sip his wine. Wide smile on his face as he watches all of you in quiet for the time being.
Ornak's going to begin singing an old elven song about not trusting other people's friends.
Seems strange, but you sing the first verse of the song, and you can see him reach over, and he gets these small little hand drums that were put back there by Ismark, and he'll start tapping to the rhythm. And then he, too, sings the song perfectly in line with you, as if he sang it many times. Says, yes. It's one of my favorite ones, What is your name, by the way, Mr. Elvin man? What should I call you?
I am Mornak.
Mornak. Beautiful name, Mornak. I am Jack.
I would say that it's nice to meet you, but I think under the circumstances, I cannot. You did try to exhort us for a woman and a pony.
I've done worse. This is a good day. But yes, let's just relax and enjoy the scenery. Yeah. Lean back and just stare out the wagon as it rolls along. It'll go for another half hour or so before it comes to a screeching halt up ahead. Ismark will stop. Victor, you'll notice you're at the crossroads. One path leads to the north that looks old, worn, really muddy. The road to the left leads, and there's a signpost that's been torn out of the ground and kind of thrown to the side. Ismark will look and says, good thing I know these films. Well enough anyway. Says, it's time we decide. To the south will take us to Wayland. That was where I had planned to stop for the eve, a small village. To the north will take us to Serfals, the Vistani camp that you all seem to want to visit. And apparently you told this new friend of ours that is where we were headed as well. Shall we be on our way, or do you wish to go to Wayland?
I have no desire to go there. I want to go the shortest route. If that's to Sarah Falls, then that's the way I want to go.
Very well. Everybody agrees then, eh? We have a strange man in our midst, and we are traveling to the Sarah Falls. Sometimes I wonder what I've gotten myself into. Snap the reins and turn the horses and start to roll up this road a little bit at a slow pace. It goes uphill at a fairly sharp speed, or slants, but the horses grunt and pull their way up. You will pass these old wooden gallows in this cold, chill window blow. We can hear it creaking. This frayed length of rope dances from the beam that hangs over top of the gallows. And the road itself splits once again, one sort of heading back towards, down towards the river's edge, and then forward. And this one you'll see, this signpost has been torn out of the ground too, but it says the Barovian Gallows. Mud, give me a will challenge roll with 2 Banes, please.
Oh boy. only take the highest.
Yep. Yep.
So 9.
Okay. This wagon rolls past. All of you will see these old gallows that were there. Most of it's kind of ruined and rubbish now. Nothing really that interesting. But to Mud, you look at these, and something seems to be calling you. You take your eyes off this man and glance over at this gallows, where everybody else sees just this old ragged beam and rope. You see a body hanging there, cold, gray, lifeless. And they'll slowly spin a little bit. And as the face comes into view, you can see it's much like yours, sort of twisted a little bit, this large horn tooth that kind of comes out. And you see the body of what you always considered to be your brother hanging from the gallows, and his eyes stare at you. Mud, get me down from here. See this limb hand sort of reach out. Mud, please, get me down. Because you failed your save, you're going to be compelled to at least try to do something.
Yeah. I'll bang on the cart. Stop the cart.
What do you mean, stop the cart?
Stop the cart.
Snap the reins and stop these horses. We can't stay here. The horses will be straining on the way. Hurry up. What do you need?
I'll, without saying anything, I'll get out and I'll just stand in front of the gallows for a few seconds.
As you go up to these, the body's still there, hanging, and it sort of twists in the wind a little bit. When it comes back around, you see yourself hanging from the gallows. It matches you perfectly. The pink clothes that you're currently wearing, the tattoo branding on your neck. Its eyes are just completely lifeless, hanging there.
I hop out of the car too and stand next to him and just look up at it perplexed.
You don't see anything there, just the hanging rope.
You want that piece of rope? Something? What can I do to help you get this on the road? Get us back on the road, my dear friend.
We need to take that one down.
The rope? Fine. I'll go look around the gallows, see where the rope is attached to.
I'll start climbing up on the platform.
No, let's find the way to lower the rope. We don't need to climb.
As it spins around again, Mud, you'll come back and you see this huge gash across the center of your chest, right through whatever armor you have, through the chest, muscle, bone, right down under, right through the whole sternum area. It looks back. It's still you. It says, you must avenge me, Mud. You shoulder the bearings. Vengeance, curse the devil. He's gonna do this to you, Mud. The devil. And it'll sort of swing around again. You can see where this can easily be dropped. The rope comes up and over the beam and then down. It's tied back down sort of towards the base of the gallows where you're standing, Vasily. It's just a quick slip and it'll fall.
Yeah, I mean, I'll find the easiest way to cut the rope. And
if you reach up, you can climb it up anyway. If you reach up and slice that rope, the body will fall. And you're staring down at yourself. The neck is already broken. You can see it completely snapped over. 2 huge puncture wounds right at the base of your neck. That seems to have almost torn out the entire holy symbol that was there. And this blood just spills across the gallows boards. This gash bleeding. Neil, what is your weapon, Mud?
flail. It's a big metal ball, but the instead just straight spikes, very jagged, very almost like the ends of sharpened snowflakes. Like
it will point to your weapon. Then you must find the sun. And then he just goes lifeless, laying there on the boards. You would see, everybody else anyway, would just see him cut the rope and the rope slither down to the ground as he's looking at it. But none of you see anything else. We must hurry. The horses can't hold the wagon at the same time. We must go. Mud, come on.
I'll glance towards Ismark and then look back down.
The body is gone. Just a string of rope.
So then I'll look back over my other shoulder, kind of away from the group, and just mutter, "Is this you're doing again?" Under my breath, and kind of shake myself out of it. Son.
It's just silence. As you're watching him there, Vasily, and you kind of glance where he's glancing, you look up and you can see this raven perched in the trees above, the white tips of its wings tight to its body. And it'll cock its head curiously and then fly off into the trees.
Always crows. Wouldn't doubt it if there's the crow that was whispering something. What's going on here, Mud? What's happening? We need to get going. There's evil eyes on us.
There is evil here.
Yes. Let's go.
Jackal steps down and says, "Do you need help, my friends?" No? Come then. My friend says the horses won't last much longer. We all see things here, Mud. We all see it.
I'll kind of shoulder Jack out of the way as I get back on.
Hop back on himself and lean back up, sipping at his wine. We should be armed then. Sarah Falls it is. I have business there I'd like to attend to before night falls. Come, Ismark, let's go. Ismark will snap. I really do not like this guy of us, Victor. We should have skewered him while you had the chance. With that, he will start rolling up the path once again. Another hour or so will pass as all of you sit in silence. Most of you probably staring at Jack as he smiles, this wide, white-toothed grin. And you can see in the distance, as Ismark comes around, the River Iflis again is running, this time on your left-hand side after passing over the bridge, but you've come alongside of it again, and you're moving up further and further higher into this mountainside. And the river itself is like this large canyon beside the wagon that stretches down probably a good 150 to 100 feet. In the distance, you can see just a spattering of tents, bright-colored domed tents. Some of you may have seen circus tents as younglings or around in festivities and stuff. That's what it looks like. It's these domed, colorful tents, blues, greens, yellows, teals, purples, all scattered everywhere. You can hear music playing of mandolins, dulcimers, guitars. It seems to be quite a cheery place. Oddly, you can even see some trees here that have leaves. The grass, it seems to be green as well. The fog that hangs over this land in the gloom seems to dissipate a little. It still doesn't look beautiful by any means, but it's a little bit lighter here. And as people begin to come into view, you see all these Vistani, these gypsy-like people, colorful clothes, dancing, singing. Most of them are gathered around a wagon that has several wine casks and ale casks tapped, and they're drinking quite heavily. As Marco start to ride in, you look over to Victor and says, "Telling you I don't like this, my friend. We are best be on our best behavior. If there's one thing I do know for a fact about these folk, and you'll make sure it's loud enough for all of you to hear, it says, if you anger them and cross them wrong, they will curse you. A curse that will follow you, your children, your grandchildren, and your family line. They are not people to be trusted." And Jacques will be like, "No, they are not, and that's very true, my friend. They will curse you for life. They might make everybody blind. They can make them all deaf. They can make all your lovers die. Vistani are very ingenious people. They will indeed curse you. I would best be on behaviors. I know I'll be on my best behavior." And with that, He'll hop down behind the wagon, start walking behind it a little bit since his mark has slowed down. What do you all do? You can see the people, some of them kind of looking in your direction out of curiosity. Some don't really pay too much attention. Nobody's coming over to greet you, though. What do you guys do?
I'll also get out of the wagon and walk aside and not near Jack. And I want to, like, I know nobody's approaching us and all that, but are they all kind of looking to a certain area or anything like that? Like, or looking to certain people for guidance?
Most of them just sort of sit on their back of their wagons or in circles around fires and stuff like that, drinking their wine and ale. Seem to be having a decent time. Music is playing. They'll glance, much like if you walked into a busy tavern, sort of. Some of them will glance in your direction and stuff and, might offer a smile or a hand wave, but none of them actively seek you out or do anything. Ismark will pull the horse to the side and sort of drop the chains of these wagon. Says, well, here we are, my friends. Like I said, don't piss them off, yeah?
Are we trying to get an audience with this Madam Eva?
I wish I could help, but I do not know of her.
No, I was saying it to our group.
Yes. Seems to be the best course of action on why we came here. I mean, why be shy? Let's just ask. I'll start walking towards one of the closest fires with I want to try to find one with like what looks like guards or something like that, so that way it doesn't look like I'm just walking up with unarmed people.
Mm-hmm. As you glance around some of these people and stuff, you can see that they all have like scimitars or small blades on their hips and stuff, but there's none that seem to stand out as guards or military type people. They all look like they're capable fighters and such, even the women and stuff, but none seem to be really in the lead. But you start moving towards this group, and you'll see a man stand up, sort of watches you and says something to a couple guys beside him, and then he'll start walking in your direction. Says, what can I help you for, friends? Says, we don't get many visitors. Are you lost, perhaps?
In a way, yes. We were pointed in this direction by the innkeeper in the town of Barovia.
Ah, yes, Lika. Yes, she's here now, actually. And he'll point over off in the distance, maybe like a couple dozen yards away. You'll see her with a group of people talking. Her back's kind of toward you, too, but she doesn't really notice you. But he'll point her out. He says, she came in this morning. She said we might have visitors, and that must be you. He holds out his hand. My name is Visage.
Pleasures, Visage. My name is Mud.
The pleasure is all mine, Mud. What of your friends here? And he'll look at Victor, Ismark, Mornak, Vasily. And as you look over, you'll notice Jack is gone.
Ismark got out of the wagon?
He's unhooking the horses and sort of, giving them their oats and stuff, but he's in the front, yeah.
But what about Irena?
She'll be standing in the barrel waiting, rather impatiently looking. Says, what would you have me do? Should I just stay here? Or, get a bit cramped my legs, heart a little bit.
There's no point even being in the barrel anymore. You've already blown the cover.
Why didn't you tell me that back when? Oh, my goodness.
What? I grab my horns by the end and
she'll step out of the barrel and hop down. It's been a long time since I've seen festivities. And she'll start scurrying away. She'll see Alika in the distance and start running over towards her. Ismark will quickly be at her side, following her.
Yes, I'm sorry. These are my traveling companions. Vasily, Victor, Angelos, wasn't it, Victor?
Yeah, he would just nod his head.
And our other companion, Mornak.
This man will smile and greet each of you and introduce himself as Visage. Says, well, Lika said that we would get visitors. He says, our home is your home, and as long as you have no ill omens, no dastardly things to do. Says, you're welcome to food, drink, and friendship.
Strahd, there was another one that came in with us, but we seem to have lost track of him this quickly. One of your ilk, I believe, introduced himself as Jack.
Jack. You must excuse me a moment there. And he'll turn and start walking away, sort of briskly towards a larger tent that's further down.
Okay. Good. Shall we follow?
He doesn't really answer. It just looks like he's on a quick mission towards this large tent. You'll see a couple others come over, though, and they'll have glasses of wine, ale, plates of food, and they said, come on, won't you sit around the fire? You can listen to our tales, have a bit of eat, rest for the evening. Says, you don't want to be out on the road after dark, you know. You're welcome to stay here for the evening. You and your friends? Says, it looks like they know Eileen or Alika anyway. You can see Ismark and Irina are talking to this barmaid lady over to the side. Ismark none too pleased, but Irina seems to have a smile on her face.
Thank you for your hospitality. Is there some place that I can get food and drink?
Says, help yourself, friend, help yourself. There's food and drink all over on all the different wagons and stuff. Says, our home is your home. You can make yourself comfortable.
Warnak grabs the largest turkey leg he can find and just starts gnawing on it.
It's not greatly tasty, and it's a little bland, but it's decent. It's good food, especially when you're hungry. The wine, you can see all the casks are labeled with the Wizard of Wine Winery. But these ones are called Chardonnay 51.
I walk up to Mud and said, I don't know, but ever since that scream this morning, screaming at the church, everything has my hackles up. Maybe this wasn't the best idea.
Well, probably not with our track record lately, but we should see it through.
Since it's a little late to change our minds now, might as well not be offensive.
And when you say that, Bud will have a little smirk and he'll glance over. Is Mark's away quite a bit?
Yeah.
I'm going to walk back to the cart and pull the whole other barrel of wine we have out and drag it into the camp.
Nobody really noticed it until now. As you pull the thing, it feels like it's about 3/4 full, Mud, and you spin it around. Again, it's Wizards of Wine Winery. This one is called Red 33. It's already got the tap on it. You can see the Ismark had it all sealed up, but just a couple of quick twists of this tap that's on there, and pound in the little nozzle thing there, and it flows quite freely. Excellent tasting wine, deep red crimson color, very sweet.
Mud will turn to Vasily and give a little wink, but it's actually really strange because as Mud has a giant fur eye patch over one side of his face, so it really just looks like he's blinking.
Well, that's quite generous. This should lighten our load. Maybe we can go a little faster tomorrow.
Avoid making new friends like Jack.
I still wanted that amulet.
All around, you can see people share food, drink. Music is playing. Alika and speaks to, Ismark and Irene over to the side. Eventually, after a few minutes, though, she'll start making her way over. Says, my friends, I see you've come. Did you plan to speak to Madame Eva?
Not yet. Our introduction was cut short, sadly. At the mention of a man named Jack, if that means anything to you.
So, I don't know any man named Jack. Don't make no difference to me, but I talked to her this morning, and she said that she was expecting you. So whenever you're comfortable, she's in the tent yonder. She points over, and you can see this. Out of all the tents, the only one that seems to be sort of a drab, grayish color, not much color to it at all. Whenever you're comfortable, she's a nice lady. She will have you. But just be sure to announce you're coming in. She gets startled. But enjoy the food, enjoy the drink. My friends, all the Vistani, we like to have company. We treat them like our own, but just
Would you like to?
us.
Would you like to introduce us to her?
If you wish, I could, most certainly.
It would be appreciated to have us.
Are you sure you don't want food and drink first?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine for the moment. We've
Have
came
a
so
turkey
far.
leg.
You're already on your second one. Cleaning the gristle.
Just
Nah,
come
that-
so far.
He says, if you insist, he says, I can take you over to meet her. He says, yes.
Please.
As we head down, though, is anybody paying any special attention to Victor?
No.
Okay. Because if I remember correctly, Victor.
Yeah, he has the same skin tone and stuff like that. But I mean, they don't make any note of it or anything like that, really.
All right.
Is Ismark and Irina coming with us?
Nope, they have currently taken a seat over where they were sitting, and Ismark will look over his shoulder, kind of scowling in your direction. But Irina seems to actually be enjoying herself from, she has a large plate of food, a drink, which he doesn't seem too pleased with either. He keeps taking it from her hand and setting it aside, and she keeps picking it up and drinking from it.
Maybe someone should stay with them.
See, Alika said, no, she says, Madam Eva, she will need all of you present for their eating. You all have a card.
What?
He says, yes, the reading is for all of you.
How did
How
you
do
know?
you know we all have a card?
Why, you had them on the table at the blood of
Did
the
you
vine.
forget we showed?
Oh,
Yeah, we
it's that lady.
showed
Okay.
her all.
Okay.
Whoops.
Says, I take notice, my friends. Says, but don't worry about your friends. They will be perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I know them from the town, I've served Ismark. Well, he's a bit of a jerk sometimes, but I'll make sure he doesn't drink too much.
Can't they come along with us?
Says, well, I don't know, to be honest. Says, do they have cards?
I never asked. Perhaps they do.
He says, I can go ask if you wish, but I don't know. He says, normally there's a card reading. I don't know too much about them, but they lay them out 5 in a row. It's a sort of plus sign shaped like a cross. So they only need 5, so extra cards, no good. I will take care of them. Don't you worry, Vasily. You look a bit skitterish, my friend. Relax. We have this campus safe from anything that the devil may send our way.
That is something interesting. How do you keep safe from the devil out in the open like this?
The Vistani do not give away all our secrets, Vasily. Perhaps in time you will learn our ways. But that is not my information to give. What do we got? If you guys have like 15 more minutes, we can meet with Madame Eve. It's up to you guys.
I'm fine.
I kind of got to go.
Okay,
Okay.
that's Nope, not a problem. We will pick that up at the next one. So, yeah, she'll start leading you toward Madame Eva's tent. Do you guys want to do anything before you head on in?
I'm just gonna go actually talk to Ismark and Irene. And say, why don't you come with us to see Madame Eva?
Irina will look up, a little bit of glaze in her eyes. And, yes, I've always wanted to go see the Madame Eva. I've heard the many stories about. You can see she just sort of slops over on Ismark's lap.
Oh, wonderful. She's drunk.
Says, I tried to keep the drink away, but what can I say? You fellows, you go do what you need to do. I will make sure she's okay and get her to bed. I do not wish to be here long. They say that we will be safe tonight. I'm not so sure under the open sky.
My hackles have been raised.
And he will make sure, kind of wrap this cloak around her a little bit as she stumbles to and fro. Anything else before we end it for the evening? And we can just pick up with the next part then.
No, I'm good.
Oh, good.
All set.
All right.
I'm good. Victor?
And
I'm good as well.
all right.